Year, everybody. Let's hope that 2022 will bring us joy, happiness, and of course, lots of interesting birds. We are starting a new season of Brome Bird News, and throughout the year, we'll be changing things around a little bit, playing with the format, introducing more live events. And if you want to learn about something specific, or if you have any suggestions for us, please don't be shy to reach out and let us know. Welcome to my beautiful winter backyard. It's an absolutely gorgeous day, but we've had some crazy weather fluctuations here. So on the 1st of January, it was raining all day long. Then on the 2nd of January, the temperatures dropped and it snowed all day. And today is the 3rd of January and it's minus 21 Celsius. It's about minus 6 Fahrenheit. So not only have I been filling my feeders almost every day, but also I tend to check on my feeders more often during weather patterns like this, because as you can see, snow piles on the feeders, and then of course with all the humidity there's also ice in the feeders, so that can make the shrouds so much heavier that they can close access to seed. So you might notice birds not being able to come to your bird feeders and eat properly. So if you live in the same geographical areas as us with cold weather and lots of snow and ice, please make sure to shake all the ice and snow off your feeders. If you can't get rid of the ice, bring your feeders inside, let them thaw, and then pat them dry so there is no moisture when you bring the feeders back outside. And then if you live in southern areas where you might not have any snow or ice like we do here, if you use hulled sunflower seeds, please keep an eye on them, because when there's too much moisture, when there's too much humidity, they can absorb all of that and either spoil really fast or clog the feeders, and that will also prevent your birds from feeding properly at your bird feeders. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to shake all the ice and all the snow off these feeders to make sure that birds can eat easily here. All right, there we go. You can also notice that some of the perches might be frozen in place, so check on them as well and correct them. Like here, it's a little bit too much ice here. See, there's actually ice underneath, and that can also bring the shroud down. So there, much better now. So see this snow even on in the crown port. So I just want to get rid of all of that. And as you can see, I have just a regular tube feeder with a tray, and well, the seed ports are completely covered with snow. So this is what I do. Just come and shake everything off so the birds can access seed easily here. There, much better. All right, so here we go. This is what you do to maintain your feeders when it's really cold outside. Thomas Kane, a primary school teacher, was asked by his students whether pigeons would eat earthworms or what their preferred food actually is.
Well, I do find it a little surprising that feral pigeons will eat worms. After a wee bit of reflection, it does make perfectly good sense to me. While pigeons do prefer seeds and leftover food tossed to them in city environments, they will turn to foods like worms if hungry. I also discovered that quite a number of other bird species out there also eat earthworms if available. Two of those species are very close to my heart: American kestrels, the small falcons which I worked with throughout my entire research career for 40 years, and loggerhead shrikes, which I studied for 20 years. While worms are a good source of protein for those birds, and quite a number of others, it's likely that pigeons and similar birds will only turn to them when their preferred foods are not available. Urban-dwelling pigeons enjoy roughly the same diet of seeds and grain, small insects, and of course leftover food we throw to them, such as popcorn and breadcrumbs. They'll even consume confectionery like bits of chocolate. In a similar fashion, opportunistic wild pigeons will eat whatever comes across their paths, such as seeds, fruits, berries, vegetables, worms, ants, spiders, and small lizards. In the end, pigeons, no matter what environment they inhabit, will eat almost anything if they're hungry enough.
Well, this year there was such a huge demand for live Christmas trees in our area that by the time we decided to go and pick one up, our regular place was actually sold out and closed. So it was a really slim pickings here. Anyway, if you still have your live Christmas tree and if you have room on your property, just a quick reminder to keep that tree somewhere in your backyard because it makes a wonderful habitat for all sorts of wildlife. It also makes great perching area for birds, and these trees decompose so fast. The one that we dragged out last year has now become part of our backyard landscape. And one more thing on environment is if you live in an area like us with lots of snow and ice, and if you have to use de-ices, please consider looking for the ones that are pet and environment friendly, or if you can't find any, consider using sand or pine shavings instead.
So, will we be losing another 2 bird species in the not too distant future? I'm referring to the recently published paper by 2 researchers at the Cornell Laboratory of Ornithology, which stated that the common hoary and lesser redpolls might in fact be the same bird. Allow me to explain. Way back in 1861, Elliott Cowes, a legend among ornithologists today, described no less than 8 different kinds of redpolls. Over the years, the list was knocked down to the 3 current redpoll species in the world. For North American birders, there's the common redpoll and the much more difficult to see hoary redpoll. The main differentiation is the color of their breasts. The common redpolls is brown streaked and the hoaries is snow white. The 2 researchers delved deeply into the DNA of the 2 species and then into that of the lesser redpoll in Europe and found that the 3 birds are basically the same species sharing the same genes. They explained it in terms of human hair color. 2 individuals might have the same gene for brown hair, but one might have a lighter brown than the other. They presented their case for lumping the 3 redpolls together to the official committee that decides on bird names. While the Cornell scientists claim that their finding makes the redpoll a more interesting bird, I'm not so sure that those bird watchers who worked hard to get the hoary redpoll on their list will find it so amusing. And it does make one wonder what else is coming down the pike in terms of lumping and splitting species as scientists resort more and more to the use of DNA-based analyses.
I don't know about you, but I like to start the new year with good news. The black stilt, a critically endangered bird species in New Zealand, has just had a banner year for hatching chicks. Over the holiday period, 18 chicks were hatched and are in a really good health. The chicks were born at the Department of Conservation's breeding facility, and they have to be hand-reared until they're 35 days old. Then they're transferred to a free-flight aviary and they stay there until they're 9 months old. And if everything goes well, they're then released into the wild. In the mid-80s, there were only about 20 black stilts left in the wild, but for the past few years, the Department of Conservation has been releasing about 170 birds a year. So their numbers are slowly but surely climbing to a healthier level. Right now, there are 29 eggs and 117 chicks awaiting to be released into the wild. In December 1973, President Nixon signed the Endangered Species Act, so it's just celebrated its 48th birthday. This act has been instrumental in helping protect many animals and bird species like the iconic bald eagle, the peregrine falcon, the Kirtland's warbler, the whooping crane, and one of my favorites, the California condor. Well, it's time to say goodbye. Our photo contest is open. The theme is quail, grouse, pheasants, and turkeys. And even though we allowed some modifications and photoshopping in December, we're back to our strict rules where it's original photos only. Good luck, everyone. I'll see you in 2 weeks.